Hello, it's me, and I thought I'd demonstrate a couple of concepts with these interesting cross-type puzzles, cross cubes. Now what that is it's really, you have a center cube here, a center portion, and then you have extensions glued on that turn independently. So looking at this 2x2, this was actually made by McGale. And basically, really what it is it's a 2x2 cross cube where these have been fashioned onto the top. So you have a base 2x2 over here, and then you've got these top layers here that spin on its axis. So it's a really fun, kind of interesting variation on the cross cube concept, where you make a cross cube and affix these onto here too. Now what's interesting is that the solve is rather fun too, because normally with a puzzle you solve the centers, you reduce the centers and you reduce the corners. This is done just the opposite. You solve the inner parts if you want to, which are the corners, do the corners first, and because these are free floating, then you solve the centers. But really what this is it's like you're just solving the centers of a 4x4. So that's really all this is just the centers only solve of a 4x4. So this is a 2x2 version of it. This is a 3x3 version of this. Now if this is solved just like doing the centers of a 4x4, and that's all this is, then this is like just solving the center of a 5x5 puzzle, where you've got the centers that are of a 3x3. But in any case, you can see the base color underneath, and it's a baseline 3x3, and then all of these twist on their axis over here. And you can turn it and scramble it in various and interesting ways, but basically it's like you're solving it as a 5x5 centers. You're just doing a center only solve basically. You can do a 3x3 solve initially, but then it's just like solving the centers of a 5x5 puzzle just by reduction. And just as demonstration, this is something that's slowly being put together, but I didn't finish this side as of yet just to show you how I'm doing it. I'm basically taking, you can take any type of a crazy 3x3, the 3x3 plus series, this happens to be a Jupiter, and then turn it into a cross cube by cutting up the center so that it can move freely like this. So this can turn over here. What I did is I just did that with all the other centers, and then I took a bunch of Rubik's cubes and shaved them down, and I'm just kind of gluing them onto here so that they turn freely. The only issue is that you have to make sure that you're cutting them correctly so that they can, so that they can spin smoothly. Some of them spin more than others, but basically these are just glued on pieces to this, and then once you do that, hopefully by the end, we'll have a functioning cross cube. But again, the solve is basically similar. When I'm done with it, maybe I'll show the finished product and how to solve it, but it's really the same kind of thing, and I'll demonstrate it with this. Then of course we have this guy, which is the pièce de résistance. This is a cross square one cube, and this I'm going to demonstrate later. Now unlike the others, you have to line it up just like a cross cube in order to make the turn. This is from the same guy who did the hexajigaminx, so we'll get back to that. But in any case, so I'll just kind of demonstrate this puzzle as well. Now, you've got a 2x2 over here. So we can do a regular 2x2 scramble it up, turn, turn. And right now we just really have a 2x2 puzzle, but now I can make a couple of turns with these, turn, turn, take these crosses in and out, turn, turn, and all it takes is one, and then just do another 2x2 scramble, and you've got it pretty well. And then you can do it again. Just make other random turns here, and scramble it even more. So you're basically separating out anything that resembles an order to this, taking away some of the bandaged areas here. And we'll keep going with this until we have what appears to be a pretty good scramble. Okay, not too bad. What I like about this puzzle is in its scrambled form, it's got all these colors that are jumping out at you. One of the things that I look for in a collection is when it looks scrambled, it looks pretty impressive. You got a bunch of colors here, here, so nothing stands out at you like a scrambled puzzle just begging to be solved. Now to solve this, what you could do is you could just solve the cross portions up here, which is just like solving the centers of a 4x4, where you're just reducing that and turning them. It's like a cornerless, edgeless 4x4, but just with centers. But if I want to really do it right, then I'm going to want to solve these inner colors here first. I'm going to want to do the 2x2 solve. So a nice version of this would have been if this were cut down so that you can see the underlying puzzle underneath, but that's okay. So if I were to solve it, what I can do is take a peek and see what's here first. So I see two blues here. Are they the same colors here? And no, this is orange, this is red. We got a yellow here, we got a yellow here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the fact that this is blue and yellow and just put that over to here. So I'm just going to go kersplat. So I see two blues are here, and yellow and yellow. Now I happen to put another blue here. Does this correlate? Nope, that's white and this is red. So I'm just taking little peeks over here. But I do see that this is orange. Do I have an orange here? I've got an orange here. So this blue I just want to put into here. So I'll just remember what goes where. Okay, does that work? Good and good. So I'm just doing a 2x2 solve here. And now I just have one more blue. See if I can find it somewhere here. Nope. Yep, right over here. So we'll just put that guy in. So good, 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 and all these are fine. So this is really a simple 2-layer solve. So I'm just going to turn this upside down, kind of get this out of the way. And what appears here, so all of these have green here somewhere. Here's a green, here's a green. These are the reds, so do we have any reds on any side? Nope. Yeah, so this is green, red, and white. This is red over here. This is white over here. So this is actually where it's supposed to be. It's just turned wrong. How about this? Is this where it's supposed to be? Well, it is a green, orange, and yellow. Here's a yellow here, and that's a red. So this chunk here is now where it needs to be, this underlying color here. How about this? Is this where it needs to be? Well, we have an orange. So this orange is okay. Now do we have a white? And it's a white. So because this is white and this is white, I know that this is right and this is right. Because I see orange, which correlates with this orange over here. We've got our white, which correlates with this white over here. So these two are correct. I know this is wrong, so I know these two need to be swapped. So I'm just trying to use deductive reasoning to get through this, but these two are placed properly. These two just need to be swapped. So without thinking anymore, I'm going to plug in an algorithm, which is a corner swapping algorithm. To our U, to our UI, to our turn, to our UI, to our U, to R. All right. And then I think inevitably we have to move things back. So here's a orange. There's our orange here. And there's our white, and there's our white. So this is good. Now my prediction is that they're all good. So this is white. We must find a white up here somewhere, yes. And there should be a red, and that red is here, and this red is here. So everything is fine. Now what I'm going to do is I have to orient them correctly since they've been permuted fine. So I have to turn it to where the green ends up on top, and this green is where? This green is here. So I'm going to do RID, RD until this white, which is covering the screen, is up here. RID, RID. So this is where it needs to be, C, green. So now I'm just going to move this over and find where the green is. It's here, so now I'm going to do it until this blue is up. RID, RD. Two greens are up, so that's good. Move it across. Where's our green? This time it's here. So now I do that algorithm until this yellow is up, since it's covering the green. RID, not yet. Got to keep track of what's what, and that's good. That's in. Move this across. Where's my green? Here's my green. Do it until the red is up. RID. So now all these are in. red and red. Find the red down here. On this side, I turn this, so now I know that the 2x2 portion is all fine. All the blues are in, as you can see. All the yellows are in, as you can see. And all the oranges are in. So that was easy. That was okay. I just had to do a little bit of thinking. Now, once I get this finished, it's going to be the same way. I just do that with a 3x3 solve. I just take little peeks, see where things are going to be, do my 3x3 solve. And then the next step is to put these guys in. Well, these guys are going to be solved just like the center of a 5-layer puzzle. This is going to be put in just like the center of a 4-layer puzzle, because on a 4-layer puzzle, you've got 4 aspects of the center. So I'm going to start off with, say, the green top here. And let's just put any green up here. And because the centers pivot and move, I can move the actual corner pieces, well, like corner pieces. So move this up, bump it out of the way, move it down. Now that that's here, I'm just going to ignore what's here and just try to keep things calibrated. So these calibrate the position, but I'm just going to move this independently. Move all these independently as long as I retain the configuration underneath. So where's the green that comes with this one? Here's a green here. Here's a green and orange. So just move this into configuration so that this green and orange can end up next to this. So turn it in, move it in position, get it out of the way. Now I got to remember to get it back so I don't mess up what I did here, and bang. Here's another green with this yellow. Well, let's do this. Let's match these two up here. So bump this out of the way, turn, be sure to bring it back. And now I'm going to move these in sync with each other. The red over here, red over here. So this is just like doing a supercube in many ways. Turn, turn, turn. And I guess what I should point out is it's not just like doing the center of a 4x4. This is like doing the center of a supercube, because the true center of a 4x4 just has these colors, but a supercube has these colors here, which add to the complexity. So this is good for doing practice on how to do centers of a supercube. This would be like the centers of a 5x5 supercube, because it's not only these colors that I deal with, but also these guys, just like you'd get with Pachman stickers or something like that. So where was our green side? It was up here. So we'll move this out of the way here, bring it down, turn this across, and collectively move this in, so this is here. So this is where it needs to be. So what comes next? Well, this is white, which means it's got to be like this. So we've got all the reds over here. So we can do our red center next. So here's a red. Let's match up 2 reds. These two don't match up side by side, but this might, so this matches up to here. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do white. Here's our white, because we've already got 2 and they're matched up. So let's put 2 other whites side by side, these 2, and bring it back, turn, turn, and turn. So then there was white. So good practice for supercube centers. Orange, already got an orange here. I don't have to even look to where it's supposed to be on the inside, because I can reason that out from what's over here. So this doesn't come next to this guy, but this does with the yellow and the yellow. So turn it here, in, turn back. Now we'll go ahead and match this up with its counterpart. Orange and white will come over to here, turn, bump it out of the way, turn it back. As long as you get comfortable with turning in and then moving things out of the way and turning it back, you'll be okay. So this collectively has to take this slot out of the way, double turn, bring it back. And so we're good. Then there was orange. Next, yellow. Got a yellow here as well. These 2 corners don't match this, and like any supercube, specificity of the centers are important. So I think this yellow can come in with this yellow, since I see red here and a red here. Move it in, turn, move it out. We'll match this yellow with this over here, only with the oranges. In, turn, move it out. And then we have but to take this and put it in here. Take it out of the way, put this in this slot, and move it in. And then there was orange, yellow rather. And now we very quickly got into the last 2 centers. So the last two centers, what I generally do is I'm going to go ahead and put in this whole side first and see where I end up with this. So this is the last two centers of a 4x4 supercube, basically corners only. So here's a red with a white and blue. Here's a red with a blue. So what I'm going to do is match these guys up, and I'm just going to move it in, turn, bring it back out. Okay, so these match together. This one doesn't quite belong. So I'm going to make it match up to this red over here. By turning it over here, this will match up to here. So turn it in, bang, turn it back, which put these in. Now I'm going to move this down in this slot, turn, double turn, and down. So what you're going to have is you're going to have all but one center left. And chances are, statistically speaking, you may have these two lined up, but you're going to have these two that have to be swapped. This is the classic dilemma with the last two centers of a supercube. So to swap this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 turns of one specific algorithm. It's kind of a variation of what we've done. Now, to those that have seen previous tutorials, and I've done a number of supercube tutorials, it's really the same technique. I'm just going to go through it again. But basically, the baseline algorithm takes this piece, moves it to here, takes this, moves it to here, and this moves it to here. Now, you see me do a variety of different large size multi-layered supercubes where I have to build on the complexity of the center more and more and more. And the algorithm that I'm going to do can be applied to different layers sequentially in order to cause similar movement around. It's a 3-cycle basically. And those who know the 3-cycle can move the world. So you can do almost anything with it. Here, the movement is very simple. I do this motion and I do this motion. If I had higher layer puzzles, then I have different layers that I can make as my R and as my L. Here it's very simple. So in order to flip these, the first thing that I'm going to do is line this up to where what needs to be flipped is in the back and in the front, all on the right side. Because the overall effect is not only does this need to flip, but this whole thing needs to rotate by 90 degrees. That's the only way the law of the cubes will allow one single segment to flip. So that's what I'm going to do. This has to rotate 90 degrees. So I'm going to start off with the algorithm holding it in this position, one to the front right, one to the back right, and do R, UI, LI, U, R, UI, L. Once I do that, I'm going to just take this center over here and do a F, and then do exactly the same thing again. R, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, L. Once I do that, I'm going to take this and do a 2U, and I'm going to take this and do a U, rather an F, and do it once more. R, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, L. And like magic, this is all in. So that fixes that, and that's classically what you're going to see. And you're going to see here, this is all fine, this is all fine, this is all fine, and this is all fine. So I didn't do anything new. There's absolutely no new techniques with this. If you know how to do 2x2, if you know how to do supercube centers, you're done. This layer puzzle, once you make it, and I encourage you to try, I think I have to fix this a little bit here, but it's really the same thing. Do a 3x3 solve, then do a 5x5 center supercube solve, and you got it. The basic difference is now I've gone from pure edges of my supercube to, if these are supercube centers, I'm going to have corner. In this, I'm going to have just all corners in my supercube center. Here, I'm going to have corners, but I'm going to throw edges in there as well. And the techniques with that, I've gone over in previous tutorials. So that is basically the simple cube versions of that. But what about this guy?